Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Well, if you didn't know already, you can guess Brother Chris and Sister Valerie are on vacation this weekend, and but we're glad you're here. And Brother Ken's going to be speaking for us today, this morning. Brother Dustin's going to be preaching tonight for us, so looking forward to both those. But just a couple of announcements. Other than that, your regular weekly meetings this week and different things we're involved in the church, visitation tomorrow night, of course, Wednesday night Bible study, and anything else specific. I don't think I saw a bulletin today, so anybody have any other announcements that need to make? All right, will everyone stand? Brother Dustin, you open for prayer, please. Amen. You may be seated. All right, time for our penny march. All you little ones. All right, you all done? You all done? One more. Put it in there. There you go. All right, before we get too far into our service, Crystal asked if she could come and say something to the church this morning. So ask her to come while they're finishing up.
Good morning. So, for you guys that don't know who I am, my name's Crystal Pridmore, and I was the granddaughter of Billy Wayne and Dolores Pridmore, which were lifetime members of this church. Um, Grandma was murdered on March 10th, 2023, and we are still going through our trial. We are expecting jury trial in September, and we are expecting him to plead temporary insanity. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But the reason I wanted to be up here this morning is I was fortunate enough for my grandma to leave me a little bit of money when she passed away, and I know that if I came, I donated some money to this church, it would make her proud. So I am here to present you guys with a $10,000 check in honor of my grandma and grandpa. And
Oh, yes. Thank you, Crystal, from you and the family. Uh, Crystal, and if there's anything special you and the family would like this to go towards, you let us know, okay? All right. That is special. That is a big check, folks. Yeah. In memory of her grandma and grandpa. Some of y'all know Billy Wayne, Dolores. They were like a second set of parents to me. And Billy Wayne was a deacon in this church for many, many years. And Dolores taught Sunday school and Bible school forever. First time I remember her, I was probably in the 3 and 4 year old class in her class. So a lot of memories with that family. So we appreciate that, Crystal, you and the family. All right. I don't know if I can do this. Sing now. Okay. So let's get our rejoice hymnal. We're going to sing a couple hymns. Let's start off with 411. 411. There is a name I love to hear. I love to sing its word. It sounds like music in my ear. The sweetest name on earth. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Because he first loved me. It tells me of a Savior's love who died to set me free. It tells me of his precious blood, the sinner's perfectly. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus, because he first loved me. It tells of one whose loving heart can fill my deepest woe, who in each sorrow bears a part that none can bear below. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus, because he first loved me. All right. Our next number, 692. 692. Sing the wondrous love of Jesus. Sing his mercy and his grace. In the mansions bright and blessed, he'll prepare for us a place. When we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be. When we all see Jesus, we'll sing and shout the victory. While we walk the pilgrim pathway, clouds will overspread the sky. But when traveling days are over, not a shadow, not a sign. When we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be. When we all see Jesus, we'll sing and shout the victory. Let us then be true and faithful, trusting, serving every day. Just one glimpse of him in glory will the tolls of life repay. When we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be. When we all see Jesus, we'll sing and shout the victory. Onward to the prize before us, soon his beauty will behold. Soon the pearly gates will open, we shall tread the streets of gold. When we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be. When we all see Jesus, we'll sing and shout the victory. When we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be. When we all see Jesus, we'll sing and shout the victory. I forgot something, man. If y'all stand with us, our ushers come, we'll take up our morning's tithes and offering. Sorry you're dealing with a sub today. Yeah. All right. Any others want to come up here? Thank you. Brother Rick, could you do some prayer? Bless this offering.
Strength will rise as we wait upon the Lord. We wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the Lord. Strength will rise as we wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the Lord. our God, you reign forever. Our hope, our strong deliverer. You are the everlasting God, the everlasting God. You do not faint, you won't grow weary. You're the defender of the weak. You comfort those in need. You lift us up on wings like eagles. Strength will rise as we wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord, we will wait upon the Lord. Strength will rise as we wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord, we will wait upon the Lord our God. You reign forever. Our hope, our strong deliverer. You are the everlasting God, the everlasting God. You do not faint, you won't grow weary. You're the defender of the weak. You comfort those in need. You lift us up on wings like eagles. You are the everlasting God, the everlasting God. You do not faint, you won't grow weary. You are the everlasting God, the everlasting God. You do not faint, you won't grow weary. You're the defender of the weak. You comfort those in need. You lift us up on wings like eagles. You give light, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. And great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you, holy. You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. Great are you, Lord.
Our pre-K through fourth grade children's church can be dismissed.
Alrighty, guys. So this man needs no introduction. No introduction whatsoever. But today, I present to you Ken Zachary.
Brother. Appreciate you. All right, good morning, everyone. Yeah, you just had to be different. Looking at your partner, I want you to say this. Say, or the person next to you. Say, I am awesome. God made me that way. Thank you, God. Well, Pastor asked me just last week, a few days last week, if I would be available today. And of course, you got to be ready in season and out of season. So I told him, hey, I got you. Now, I want to, you guys know me. I usually start off with something kind of special. Today is no different. And I'm going to be very, very careful with this one. And once I start, you'll kind of understand why. I always run my stuff by my wife. And I'm going to say hi to her. You guys know that she's still in Pennsylvania. And she told me to send her love. And she misses you guys. So So she's watching up there in the Pocono Mountains. So, anyways, this like I said, I want to be careful with this because there's a difference between the directions that women give and men give. So, for example, let's say that woman given a direction. If you want to go to someplace, let's say 3 or 4 miles away. Okay, you go down to the McDonald's, turn left, and you'll see the Quick Trip. Turn right at the Quick Trip, and right before you reach the Sam's, there's a right across the street. There's a Circle K, and it's right across the street from Circle K. All right, direction. Man giving directions. All right, go east about 2 blocks, and then you turn south going this. We give north, south, east, and west. So now that I got that out of the way, there is this woman that was left a ranch. Her father died, and so she took over the ranch, and so she asked a friend, one of her best friends, to come and stay with her on the ranch so they could work the ranch together. So that was pretty cool. So when they took over the ranch, not a week goes by and their bull dies. So they know they have to get another bull. So they call around and they're pricing bulls, but all they had was $500. So this bull that they come across was $499. So they went to go look at the bull, and they decided that, hey, this is nice, we'll purchase it, $499. We got it right here. So the lady that went to go check out the bull, she goes and she's going to send her friend a telegram. So she goes to the office and she goes, I want to send a telegram to my friend to come and get the bull. And so she didn't know at the time that, because she had $1 left. And it costs $1 per word. So she's thinking, oh gosh, now how am I going to do this? How am I going to say what I need to say in one word? And the man that was doing the telegram was just watching her pace back and forth. So she comes to him and she says this, my one word is comfortable. Comfortable. That's my one word, comfortable. So the man is timing, and he's saying, all right, how is your friend going to know to come with just this one word? How's it going to happen? So he types out the word and he just dumbfounded. So she says this, my friend, she'll know. She's a woman. She knows. She will know. So then this is what you get out of the word, comfortable. There you go. Just read it slow, comfortable. Hey, women's language, it is different. It is different. Anyways, yeah, like I said, I wanted to be careful with that. And my wife gave me the okay for that. So I knew I was good when my wife gave me the okay. So, anyways, I'm going to start off with something here. And then I'll give you the title of this message. I'm going to start out with Jonah 1, and then we're gonna read quite a bit here. Jonah 1 through 17. So now the word of the Lord came to Jonah, son of Amittai. I'm saying that right? Amittai, saying, go ahead. Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and proclaim against it. for their wickedness has come up before me. Okay, now I got to step closer. Jonah rose up. Let me turn here. But Jonah rose up to flee to Tarshish from being in the presence of the Lord as his prophet, and went down to Joppa and found a ship going to Tarshish, the most remote, and how do you pronounce that word? Phoenician trading places them known. So he paid the appointed fare and went down into the ship to go with them to Tarshish. And being in the presence of the Lord as a servant and minister, but the Lord sent out a great wind upon the sea, and there was a violent tempest on the sea, so that the ship was about to be broken. Then the mariners were afraid, and each man cried to his God. And they cast the goods that were in the ship into the sea to lighten it for them. But Jonah had gone down into the inner part of the ship and had lain down and was fast asleep. So the captain came and said to him, "What do you mean, you sleeper? Arise, call upon your God. Perhaps your God will give a thought to us so that we shall not perish." And they each said to one another, "Come, let us cast lots, that we may know on whose account this evil has come upon us." So they cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. Then they said to him, let us, we pray you, on whose account has this evil come upon us? What is your occupation? Where did you come from? And what is your country and nationality? And he said to them, I am Hebrew, and I fear and worship the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the dry land. Then the men were exceedingly afraid and said to him, What is it that you have done? For the men knew that he fled from being in the presence of the Lord, because he had told them. Then they said to him, What shall we do to you, that the sea may subside and be calm for us? For the sea became more and more, tempestuous. And Jonah said to them, Take me up and cast me into the sea. So shall the sea become calm for you. For I know that it is because of me that this great tempest has come upon you. Nevertheless, the men rowed hard to bring the ship to the land, but they could not, for the sea became more and more violent against them. Therefore they cried to the Lord, We beseech you, O Lord, we beseech you, let us not perish for this man's life, and lay not upon us innocent blood. For you, O Lord, have done as it pleased you. So they took Jonah and cast him into the sea, and the sea ceased from its raging. Then the men feared the Lord exceedingly, and they offered a sacrifice to the Lord and made vows. Now the Lord had prepared and appointed a great fish to swallow up Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Let us go to the Lord in prayer. Lord, I just thank you for this time. I thank you for this time that you've given me, Lord. And Lord, I just ask you to help me to decrease so you can increase, Lord. And whatever comes out of my mouth is not from me, Lord, it's from you. Lord, I just ask you that these words that you speak will pierce the hearts, Lord, and Lord, that they may have a great understanding of your word. Lord, I just thank you, and I just give you all praise and everything. Amen. The title of my message is this: When God calls, will you be ready or too busy to answer the call? Now, you can take that a few different ways, because sometimes when you think when God calls, oh gosh, it's my time to die. No, that's not all, because God can call you to do something, and sometimes you disagree. And I can tell you this: I know that I ran from God for over 30 years. I know that I did. I knew what I was supposed to do as a kid. My pastor over there across the way at Calvary Baptist Church, Pastor Ruth. I mean, when I was a kid, he would ask me. It seemed like every Sunday, and every time I was at church, and he had this deep voice. I mean, he was a big guy, and every day he would ask me, and he would call me Kenny, Brother Kenny. When are you going to start preaching? That's not happening, Pastor. I'm not going to do it. Not happening. Never going to do it. And when I went off to college and then I come back every Sunday, he would put me in his message. I don't know how he fit me there, but every time I would come back, I'd be in his message. And he would even call me out. Nowadays I sit on the front row, but then I was sitting way back there, but he'd still point me out. And all heads would turn. Ain't that right, Brother Kenny? I just, man, I'd try to duck, but he would always point me out. And even when I became an adult, and he would, every time I would come home, and even when I'd come home to visit, when I was playing in the league, and he would say, "So, Brother Kenny, when are you gonna start preaching?" Pastor, that's not happening. Not gonna do it. Not gonna happen. That's what I would tell him all the time. It's not gonna happen. And so I ran from God. But let me tell you, that you cannot run too far. You can't hide. You cannot hide. And eventually, you're going to end up where you didn't want to be. And that right there is what happened to Jonah. He ended up where he was trying to run from. He ended up there. And I mean, can you imagine being swallowed up by a fish? I mean, I can't even imagine that. I found out when I broke my neck, in the game, and I remember having to go get an MRI, and found out, didn't know that I was claustrophobic. Didn't know it. So they hooked me. Those of you that ever had an MRI, you understand what I'm saying. So when they pushed me into this thing, this tube, and all I could see was everything was close. And of course, I couldn't move, I was paralyzed. And I was like, "Get me out of here, get me out of here." No, I changed my mind, get me out of here. And I was claustrophobic. Didn't know it until then. And so I can't imagine being swallowed up, closed up by a big fish. But the thing is this: Noah ran. And there's nowhere on this earth that you can hide from God. There's nowhere on this earth. I mean, just think about this: the people that disobeyed or ran from God. Solomon, he turned his back on God. What happened to him? The parable of the prodigal son. He ran from God. Look what happened to him. But the thing is Adam. Adam was one of the first. He disobeyed God. But the thing is God is always going to have his way in the end. no matter what. He's going to have his way in the end. So it doesn't matter. You can answer the call. Don't know if he's gonna keep knocking. Don't know, but he'll give you a chance to answer. He'll let you go through some trials and tribulations. He'll let you go through some trouble. He'll let you go through some stuff. There was this plane that was going off the West Coast. It was at San Diego, and can't remember how long ago this happened, but this plane was flying off. It was taking off, and all of a sudden they hit some birds, some geese that was flying, and it damaged the back, whatever it's called, the plane that controls the plane that helps it land, and it damaged it. And so the pilots were very nervous, scared, of course, and so they had to tell the people what was going on, what happened, because now they couldn't land. And so, of course, the pilots knew that it was going to crash in the water, and everybody was going to perish. So he had to tell the pilot. He had to tell the people this, his passengers. So he gets on the radio, the intercom, and he tells the people that the situation, that we're going to crash because we cannot land the plane. And everybody is screaming, everybody is nervous, everybody is crying. This one person, it was a woman. She was a minister. This woman, she walked to the cockpit, and she asked to get on the intercom. And they let her get on the intercom, and she introduced herself. She told the people who she was, and she asked them to pray with her. Those of you that don't know the Lord, this is your chance to come to the Lord. This is your chance to give your heart. This is your chance to bow the knee of your heart to the Lord. And so she began to pray. And the reason why we know this, the reason why we know this story is this was all on the black box that records everything. So she began to pray. This prayer lasted for 7 minutes. 7 minutes. And then after 7 minutes, nothing. God will give you time. Sometimes it's just 7 minutes. But God will give you time. So just think about that, being a part of that on that plane. Just think about being on that plane. 7 minutes. He gave them 7 minutes. And then the plane crashed. Everybody, of course, on the plane perished. When God calls, will you answer the call? Will you ignore the call? You know, when I think about Jonah and stuff that he went through, and all the things that he went through, is this. Jonah tried to run from God, and he failed. He failed miserably. He failed. But when he understood the consequences of his action, when he, on the ship, he told the guys, "Hey, throw me overboard because I know it's my fault." I know it's my fault. Then I believe he was giving in. He was giving in to what God was telling him. Because God gave him a word to go and preach at this place. And he tried to run from it. But when he finally understood, the action of his consequences, he was saved. Eventually was saved. That right there was that fish, the giant fish that swallowed him, saved his life. God sent that fish to save him. I know that the devil tried to take me out a few times. I've mentioned this in the past. He tried to take me out a few times. You guys know that, me breaking my neck in a football game and being paralyzed, and doctors saying that you'll never walk again. And the understanding that as a kid growing up in the church and being baptized at 9 years old, and of course the one thing that I didn't do, and like I said, I was running from God. I was totally running. I mean, those of you that know, I was I was a sprinter. I thought I could outrun God, but I couldn't. And so God got my attention when I was laying in that bed, looking at the ceiling, paralyzed, and then realizing, am I going to be like this for the rest of my life? And then when I prayed, because even being this good kid, praying every day, reading my Bible every day, it wasn't good enough. And I was trying to run. And then there, bound the knee in my heart, because I had never, even though I knew who God was, but did he really know me? And did I really know God? And so when I began to pray and ask God into my heart, and that's the one thing that I had never done. 27 years old, I had never asked God into my heart. And when I did that, I bowed the knee of my heart because I couldn't do it physically. And then he answered my prayers. And of course, here I am standing today. And then a few years ago, when a lady hit me on my motorcycle and ran a stop sign and hit me on my bike, the devil tried to take me out again. And I had people who had prophesied over me about being, you guys know, I was with the power team for 20 some odd years, long time. And all over this planet, traveling all over this planet, in crusades, young people. But God had a different calling for me. And when I got hit on my motorcycle, that's when that different calling, it came about. And I said, all right, Lord, I hear you. I hear you. And that's when I got into the school system. And I was prophesied over that there would be people saw thousands of kids around. And like I said, I ran from that because that was prophesied over me a long time ago. And then finally I said, okay, Lord, I got it. I understand. I got it. And so I tried to run. And I couldn't any longer. And then I think it's 10, 12 years now. I understand what he was talking about. I understand where he was coming from. And I told him I'm not running anymore. And now I'm on the devil's battleground that I believe. Being in the school system, the devil's battleground. Because these kids, they need God, they need Jesus. And I know this past year when we had that crusade, for the kids. We're going to do it next year even bigger. We're going to do it even bigger next year. And because that right there is what this area needs. That's what this nation needs. And so we're going to do it even bigger this next year. And you guys know too. You guys know the story. Those that worked with me on that, I was trying to run from that. I was trying to run. You guys know that I tried to give that to Pastor Chris. Pastor Chris, we need a youth revival. We need a youth revival. He just looked at me. Yes. Okay. Pastor, we need a youth revival, man. This is the time that we need a youth revival. Yeah. Man, of course I go home and pray. It's like, man, Lord, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it. Then he said, you're the one. I said, all right, okay. I tried to run from that. But then finally I said, okay, God, I got you. I got you. I'll do this because you know what? When God sends you something, he's going to help you through it. He's going to help you through it. And I'm going to tell you what, from the day I started to announce it, I said, okay, hey, I'm going to do this. And this right here is what we're going to do. I had so much help that God sent me. And especially from my home church. I had so much help. I mean, it was awesome. Then I knew, I said, all right, God. All right, I shouldn't be surprised. You got me. And it was a success. And I saw quite a few young people, even a lot of my athletes, had them come to the Lord, which was totally awesome. Totally awesome. I had seen a lot of that stuff, especially, being with the power team. I'd seen so many kids come forward, and then really to see something like that, it was a blessing. And that's when you know that God is behind everything. And so no matter how small it is, I'm praying about it. No matter how small it is, no matter how big it is, I'm praying about it first. And God, if you tell me to do this, that's what I'm going to do. Because God is going to bless that. He's going to bless it. And like I said, God will send you, he'll allow you to go through trials. He'll allow you to go through things. He'll allow that. He'll allow you to go through some ugly things. To see, guys, just look at Job. Job went through some stuff. That's all I know. Job went through some stuff. And some terrible stuff. But look at what happened to him in the end. Look at what happened. He had 3 times more than he had in the very beginning. Here's a true story for you. This his grandfather and son, grandson. Grandson came up to his grandfather and said this, Papa, can you teach me something about life? Can you teach me something about life? Grandpa said, sure, I can do that. I can do that. And so what they did was they went and got 2 plants. And what they did was they put one plant real neatly, awesome, in this pot. It wasn't small. It was kind of like a medium big size pot. Put one in the pot. And then they planted one outside. Planted one outside in this nice area. And the grandson, he was kind of confused, but he didn't say anything. And so as they did this quietly, and it was time for his grandson to leave. He lived far away, and he only got to see his grandfather, like maybe every 3, 4, 5 years. He lived far away, and so the grandson, after this time had passed, got to come back to see his grandpa. And this is what he said to his grandpa. He said, Papa, last time I was here, I asked you to teach me something about life. I asked you to teach me something about life. And the grandpa looked at him, nodded, and says, yes, yeah, I did. And so he brought his son into, and this pot that they had planted years before, and he saw the plant that he had planted, and it grew into a awesome little small tree inside the house. And the grandson was like, wow, I can't believe that. That is so awesome. And he says, but Grandpa, what does that mean? So he took his grandson by the hand, and he takes him outside to where they planted the plant outside. And he goes and he looks, and and it's like, wow. They both were the same size when they planted. But the one outside, it was massive. It was huge. It was massive. Grandson couldn't believe it. How could that happen? But grandfather, it was outside with all the rain, all the storms, I mean, and everything that's outside that could tear it down. Grandfather said, yeah, that's true. Like I said before, God will allow you to go through the storms. He'll allow you to go through the rain, through the tribulations, all the things that can come up against you. He'll allow you to go through those things. But guess what? When all those things are said and done and over with, how stronger you will be. How much stronger you will be. Just think about that. Stronger you will be. But all you have to do is this. All you have to do is communicate with God. That's all you have to do is communicate with God through prayer. Because he'll always answer your prayer. Because the thing is I'm a living witness to all of this. I've gone through a bunch of stuff. But little do you know me, every single day, I still have some aches and pains or whatever that this motorcycle accident that I dealt with a few years ago. I still have some aches and pains, but you'll never know it. Because one of the things I'm not going to tell you, but you'll never know it. Because I'll give you an example. Okay, watch this. Tank, what's today? Gage, what's today? Ryan, what's today? What? He was wrong. Tank and Gage. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. But the thing is this, they can be in practice. They can be in practice and stretching, warm ups, and I'll walk through and I'll ask them. I said, like for example, I asked Gage, "Hey, Gage, what's today?" It's a beautiful day, Coach. It's a beautiful day. And the thing is this, I told some of you guys that I started that years ago after my motorcycle accident when I was trying to keep it quiet, and then it ended up on the front page of the newspaper because I didn't realize the newspaper was there at my accident, and I didn't want to tell anybody, and so I told my wife, keep it quiet, and then it was on the front page of the newspaper. Then my phone's blowing up, my wife's phone blowing up. Is he dead? Is everything? I mean, People, they just didn't know. So I told my wife, I said, hon, can you take me down to the field house? She took off a few months because I couldn't drive. Couldn't drive for a few months. She took off. And when I got to the field house, I set my chair in the middle of the locker room, and all the kids were around me. They were asking questions. And every now and then I would say, it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. And I kept saying that. And one of the kids, Coach, why do you keep saying that? Why do you keep saying it's a beautiful day? And I didn't tell them why. I didn't tell them why. But they kind of caught on. Because every time a pain shot through my body, I would say, it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. And then before I put my feet on the floor, every single day, it didn't matter what it looks like outside, I say it's a beautiful day. And then of course when I put my feet on the floor, then of course the devil's saying, oh no. Because I'm the most wanted. I'm on that most wanted poster. I'm on it. The devil's most wanted. And he's saying, oh no. Because here he is again. And I'll keep doing that till the day I die. I'll keep doing it. Because God called me for something. And I'm going to finish it. I'm going to finish it. I want to hear that I ran a good race. I want to hear it. I want to hear that. And the thing is this. I mean, this race does not even compare to what I did as a young person. At one point being the fastest person in the world. No, it's not even compare. This is far beyond that. That right there is what I want to see. I want to see my first job, my number one job as a coach. It's not a football coach, it's not a track coach, it's not teaching kids, football or track or how to lift correctly. That's not the number one thing. The number one thing is being a role model to these kids and teaching my young men and young women to be successful in society, to be productive in society. That's my number one job. And that's what God gave me. And I will not take it lightly. Will not. And God told me a long time ago to do this. And I tried to run from it until I got swallowed up by the big fish. And he spit me out of Kellyville. And I'm enjoying every second of it. Every second of it. So this right here, I want to challenge you to whatever God has placed in your heart. Whatever God has placed in your heart. Don't run from it. Embrace it. You say, maybe, God, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do. I just don't know. And somebody, and I know my wife doesn't mind me sharing this, was, like I said, I've been in the church all my life, and my wife didn't grow up like that. And I remember going back to her hometown and was going to see some of her old friends, and they would be asking me, "What did you do to her?" I said, "I didn't do anything. I didn't do nothing." But she's different. Okay. But I told her, when we were dating, and that I wanted a Proverbs 31 wife. That's what I wanted. And she became that, just like that. I mean, there it was, boom, she became it. And that right there is all I knew. And that right there is all she is today. And when she told me this, she said, if God decides to put us together, I promise you, every single day you'll know that you're loved. She's done that every day, every single day. So God will bless you. He'll bless you. And when people would tell her, you don't deserve to be in the ministry because of your past. And I remember getting a chance to confront this person. I said, no, this is not up to you. This right here is a God thing. God qualifies the unqualified. And I said, this right here is not up to you. So you will respect my wife. I got a chance to do that. I'm not going to tell you who that was. Okay, it was her mother. But I tell you what, after that, guess what happened to her mom? Her mom got saved. I'm telling you, God is an awesome God. And remember this, I challenge you. God has something placed in your heart. Doesn't matter how old you are. I mean, you can look at some people in the Bible, how old they were when they got started. God places something in your heart. Go get it. He will qualify you for it. He will. Don't worry about what man is saying about you. Don't worry about any of those things. So I challenge you. If you have something that's on your heart, that God has placed on your heart, doesn't matter how young you are, doesn't matter how old you are. We were doing a crusade and had a kid who come up to me and I can't remember where we are. I've done so many crusades. I can't remember where we were, but he wanted his family saved. And he said, there's no way that my dad is going to come to this thing. There's no way. And we prayed for him. And he said, hey, just tell your dad there's going to be a bunch of guys on stage running through 2x4s, blowing up hot water bottles, just doing some crazy stuff. Just tell your dad that. And so he invited his parents, his dad, to the crusade. And while he was at the crusade, I think it was John Jacobs there at that one, and he was saying this right here because his dad said, and he told us this later. His dad said that that if this right here is really of God, I'm going to hear an answer. That's what he said. And so while he was at the crusade, Pastor stopped and he said this: there's somebody here that's questioning himself, that said that if this is real, then God would send him a message. That guy, the kid's dad, stood up, ran down to the stage. He was a drug dealer. Put his cocaine on the stage and said, I will serve you. I mean, you talking, and that right there, that 9-year-old kid believed. That 9-year-old kid believed. And guess what happened to that 9-year-old kid? He grew up and he joined the power team. I mean, that's awesome. But that 9-year-old kid believed. That's why I say it doesn't matter how young you are. You can save your family. You can do that. And now this man, I mean, I've known him for years now. And Pastor Baker. And he's done children's ministry at Victory for a lot of years. He was in the ministry of giving food. I've done a lot of outreaches and crusades with him, even in different countries. Been to Russia with him a few times. But the thing is that's how he got saved. But it was because of his young son. So it doesn't matter how young you are, it doesn't matter how old you are. If God places something into your heart, he'll bring it to life. He will, I promise you, he'll bring it to life. So if you got something on your heart, bring it up here. Pray about it. Leave it right here at the altar for God to do some work at it. Let God do some work. And I promise you he will, because if you do your job, God will do his job. He will, 100% of the time. And like I said, I'm a living witness of it. A living witness. Appreciate it. Thank you guys.